Across Australia, Europe, and beyond, organized criminals are buying special phones. They're expensive, stripped down, and built for one purpose: private communication. Drug shipments, money, weapons, plans that are never supposed to reach the police. The users believe the network is secure. They believe the people selling the devices know what they are doing, and they believe law enforcement is on the outside. There is only one problem. The platform is being secretly operated by the FBI. Before it is over, thousands of ANOM devices will spread through criminal organizations around the world. Investigators will collect millions of messages. But the strangest part is not that police can read them. It is how the phones get there in the first place. How do you convince criminals around the world to voluntarily carry the investigation in their own pockets? The answer begins with another encrypted phone company. Phantom Secure had built trust inside criminal networks by selling hardened devices through private referral chains. Buyers reached distributors through people they already knew. It ran on reputation. In 2018, U.S. authorities dismantled Phantom Secure. Its chief executive, Vincent Ramos, later pleaded guilty to leading a criminal enterprise that facilitated drug trafficking through the encrypted phone business. Phantom Secure disappeared. The demand did not. Criminal groups still needed a phone they could trust, and that left a gap. According to an FBI affidavit, agents recruited a confidential human source who already knew this world. The source had previously distributed encrypted devices and had been developing a new product. Its name was ANOM. Then came the offer. The source offered ANOM to the FBI. That changed the problem completely. Instead of trying to break into somebody else's encrypted network, investigators now had the possibility of placing a platform they controlled inside criminal networks from the beginning. But possessing ANOM was only the first step. ANOM could not build credibility through ordinary advertising. The real question became, how do we convince criminals around the world to voluntarily carry the investigation in their own pockets? Beginning in October 2018, according to the FBI affidavit, the source offered ANOM through former encrypted device distributors with connections to criminal organizations, primarily in Australia. Australian authorities obtained legal authority to monitor the first test. Approximately 50 devices were distributed, and the test worked. The early communications included discussions involving drug trafficking, firearms purchases, but 50 devices were still just an experiment. For ANOM to become truly valuable, criminals had to recommend it to other criminals. At first, growth was slow. Then word of mouth began doing the work. A distributor passed the product on. A user recommended it to someone else. More people inside the same networks adopted ANOM. The FBI affidavit says demand accelerated by the summer of 2019. By October, several hundred people were using ANOM, and investigators were receiving its message data regularly. The operation had crossed an important threshold. The platform was now spreading through the criminal networks themselves. The users did that. And the more the network grew, the more investigators could see. ANOM users were sending ordinary messages they believed were private. Justice Department records describe conversations involving drug shipments, money laundering, firearms, and threats to life. Users shared photographs connected to narcotics shipments and coordinated activity across countries. In one example described by prosecutors, users discussed cocaine concealed inside fruit shipments. In another, drugs were hidden in cans of tuna. The point was not the hiding place. It was the confidence. The people writing those messages believed the platform was protecting them from the very investigators reading them. As competing encrypted services used by criminal groups were disrupted, some users moved towards ANOM instead. More people joined. More groups adopted it. One phone became dozens. Dozens became hundreds. Hundreds became thousands. And by the time the operation was approaching the end, the scale had become extraordinary. More than 12,000 ANOM devices, more than 300 criminal syndicates, more than 100 countries, and more than 27 million messages. A 50-device test in Australia had become a window into organized crime networks around the world. But that success created a new problem. If investigators exposed ANOM too early, the platform could collapse almost instantly. Users would abandon the phones, distributors would warn their contacts, networks that had taken years to enter could disappear in hours. So, law enforcement had every reason to keep watching. But sometimes, the messages described situations where simply watching was not an option. Threats to human life appeared inside the communications. Now investigators faced a contradiction. The intelligence could help prevent violence, but acting too obviously on that intelligence could reveal that ANOM itself was compromised. According to the Justice Department's later accounting, information developed through Operation Trojan Shield helped prevent more than 150 threats to human life. Investigators sometimes had to act without revealing why they knew. Stop the danger. Protect the source. Keep the network alive. For almost 3 years, that tension continued while ANOM kept spreading, but every additional user also increased the chance that the secret would eventually surface. By 2021, agencies across multiple countries were preparing for a coordinated takedown. On June 7th and 8th, the trap closed. Raids began across Australia, Europe, and elsewhere. Homes and other locations were searched. People who had been communicating through ANOM suddenly found law enforcement at the other end of the operation. During the immediate 2-day takedown, the Justice Department said over 500 arrests were made around the world. The platform was taken down. For ANOM users, the central promise of the device disappeared in a single moment. The network they believed kept police out had been giving investigators a view from the inside. And the cases continued after ANOM disappeared. By 2025, the Justice Department said the broader investigation had resulted in approximately 1,200 arrests. But the numbers are not the reason ANOM became such an extraordinary story. ANOM did not spread because criminals failed to trust one another. It spread because they did. Every recommendation made the phone look safer. Every new user widened the investigation. The FBI never had to force the trap into those networks. The criminals distributed it for them.